Welcome everyone. Welcome to Community Church Unitarian Universalist's virtual worship service, where we gather each week beyond our four walls to be together in these unique times. I'm Amy Holtkamp, CCUU member, and I'm worship associate today. Today, Melanie Morel-Ensminger will be offering the sermon, "We Didn't Sign Up for This." Community Church Unitarian Universalist is a progressive, open-minded, and inclusive religious community. All who are on a spiritual search for truth and meaning are welcome. Ours is a faith in action as we do the work of justice and elevate compassion in our quest to live ethically in recognition of the inherent worth and dignity of all. We believe it is not necessary to think alike in order to love alike. We are very glad to have you join us in this service of worth giving. Our guest minister this morning is no stranger to CCUU, having preached here many times in the past. The Reverend Melanie Morel-Ensminger is a native New Orleanian who was ordained at First Church in 1993. Over the years of her ministry, she has served congregations in Tennessee, New Zealand, and New Jersey before returning home to New Orleans after Katrina. She has served two of the three New Orleans area congregations as consulting minister. She currently is part-time consulting minister for the Our Home Universalist Unitarian Church in Ellisville, Mississippi. So welcome, Reverend Melanie. I have a few announcements today, and if you'd like information about any of these announcements, any of these items, you can take a look in your email for the Community Matters email newsletter. So when you go to your newsletter, you'll see that we have some updates in the Diaz family. They could really use some support at this time. So take a look and see if you can lend a hand. You can still sign up for the meal train for Bennett and Carol Britt. There's a link in the newsletter to sign up there. You'll also find information on how to help with relief efforts for Hurricane Laura. Finally, the Rubber Duck Derby is back at the Big Lake and City Park on September 12th at 10 a.m. All proceeds go to Second Harvest to assist in their mission to fight hunger across South Louisiana. When you adopt your duck for just $5, you provide 20 meals for children, families, and seniors facing hunger, and you get a chance at bringing home the $5,000 grand prize. And of course, you can always donate directly to Second Harvest to help them. They have a lot of emergency relief efforts going on right now to help those affected by the hurricane. So that's it for announcements right now, and I'll turn things over to Susie to start us off with the Introit.
Hallelujah, some stars that gave us far. Hallelujah, is on the earth. Hallelujah, shall it go across the skies. Hallelujah, when peace has shone us rise. Amen.
Our opening words come from Unitarian poet Emily Dickinson. Hope is the thing with feathers that perches in the soul and sings the tune without the words and never stops at all. And sweetest in the gale is heard, and sore must be the storm that could abash that little bird that kept so many warm. I've heard it in the chillest land and on the strangest sea, yet never in extremity it asked a crumb of me.
It is Community Church's custom to light a chalice invoking hope and eternal truth to our worship. Although we don't have a literal chalice here today, we can definitely light that flame in our hearts together today. So please join me in reading the words in the chat box together. "We Light This Flame" by Bert Brunson. We light this flame to affirm the light of truth and knowledge, the warmth of love and community, and the fire of hope and commitment. And now we'll have the words for all ages. That's going to require me to share my screen. So just bear with me for a moment while I get that ready.
Whoops.
The Way I Feel, written and illustrated by Enzinger. Silly, silly is the way I feel when I make a funny face and wear a goofy, goofy hat that takes up lots of space.
We can't hear it. Turn the volume up, please.
Shaking because I'm scared, all alone in the dark at night. The thunder and lightning crash and roar. Hold me close and turn on the lights. Disappointed. The plans were made so long ago for you to visit me today, but now you can't come after all. I'm disappointed we can't play. Happy. The smile you see upon my face as the sun shines in the sky shows the world that I feel happy and my mood is soaring high. Sad. Sometimes I feel so very sad and really don't know why. Instead of playing and having fun, I cry and cry and cry. Angry. Angry is how I feel right now. I shout with a mighty roar. I mostly want to frown and growl and stomp upon the floor. Thankful. The wheel fell off my brand new truck. I needed some help from you. You kindly fixed my favorite toy. I'm thankful for all you do. Frustrated. Frustrated because I can't do it. It's hard and I want to cry. I don't know whether to give it up or to give it another try. Shy. If someone says hello to me, I suddenly feel so shy. Instead of waving back at them, I hide my face and walk on by. Bored. I can't make up my mind. There's nothing I want to do. The day drags on and on. I'm feeling bored and blue. Excited! I'm bouncing like a rubber ball. I'm more excited than I can say. It's really hard for me to sit when I'd rather jump and play. Jealous. I want to play with you right now. I don't think taking turns is fair. I'd rather have you to myself. I'm jealous when I have to share. Proud. I did it, I did it, I shout to the crowd. Getting dressed by myself makes me feel proud. Feelings come and feelings go. I never know what they'll be. Silly or angry, happy or sad. They're all a part of me.
Joys and sorrows within the congregation are recognized within worship. And in this virtual service, I invite you to write your public messages in the chat box to be read after the hymn, which will be From All the Fret and Fever of the Day. But before we get to the hymn, Reverend Melanie has a few words.
Prayers for this time. If comparison is the thief of joy, then please God, help me not to compare my life today to my life 7 months ago. Help me find the joy in this life and in this day, and to know that all life is a gift and it is enough. Amen. Beloved Goddess, hear our call. Bless us with the knowledge that we are good enough just as we are. Grace us with small moments of quiet and solitude. Help us prioritize our well-being and the well-being of our families. Free us from capitalist expectations of productivity and worth and busyness. Be with us as we learn how to grieve our losses without being able to gather our beloveds. Remind us of the communities that help us through the tough times. Remind us that we may still be of help to communities less well off than we are. And whenever possible, grant us joy and resilience, good sleep, a sense of humor. Please and thank you. Amen.
Alicia, are we supposed to be hearing something?
Yes, I'm sorry. Hold on. Can't get the settings on my Zoom to automatically do what I want, but this time it will work, I promise. Please sing along.
All right. From Howard Milkey. I lost my cousin, childhood, and lifelong friend David, who died suddenly yesterday. Too much to grieve these days. We're so sorry for your loss, Howard. From Al Malone. We just got back from Lake Charles, where a friend of ours lost her house. She was the one who took us in after Katrina, and we owe her a big one. Hope this will be an opportunity for us to repay her support and kindness in her time of need. Jacqueline Luck says Elizabeth Jenkins is listening with us to this service and asks that she let you know. And Dion DeVille says, please pray for Cameron and Lake Charles. And we also recognize all of the joys that are just bubbling up, that are too new to share, and the sorrows that are too much to be spoken. Please know that you're not alone in your times of sorrow or in your time of joy. Also, if you're wishing to contact a minister, Reverend Darcy is back from her parental leave and she's beginning her study leave, but she is available. And if you have any concerns, you can always email caring@ccuunola.org. Community Church Unitarian Universalist is a self-sustaining self-sustaining congregation. Your generosity enables the congregation to fulfill its mission within and beyond the church walls. You can give online or by text. You can make arrangements with your bank for your gift, and you also have the option of mailing a check to CCUU. All of that information will be in the chat box and up on your screen during our offertory hymn, Wild and Precious.
May I ever use my hands for lifting up. May I ever use my voice for speaking truth. May I consecrate each day and live with joy and wonder. May I sow in peace as all the wild things do. I will ever use my voice for lifting up. This voice was made for peace. I will ever use my eyes for seeking truth. These eyes will make I will consecrate each day and live with joy and wonder. So in peace as all the wild things do. There is peace on I will reap in peace as all the wild things do. Wild and precious, we are wild and precious. Life is wild and precious.
Our reading this morning is by Julica Herman de la Fuente. I hope I said that right. Former intern with the UU Ministers Association. I have joked with friends that if I ever write a memoir, I will entitle it Never a Dull Moment. And I'm here to tell you that the chapter on the pandemic will be called, I Didn't Sign Up for This. I still remember the disconcerting feeling of the very first Monday when we began sheltering at home. Nobody left. No one walked to school. No one drove away to work. They were all still here. And they still are. 3,007,014 days later. Look, I love my family, and I am very, very lucky that we are fairly functional, and we still seem to like each other. And my children are old enough to self-entertain. And even with all of that, I did not sign up for this. Yes, I'm yelling. Also, I hate cooking, so why does it feel like that's all I do? So this is a special love note to everyone coping as best you can out there. You are magnificent. You are going above and beyond every day. You too did not sign up for this, and you are doing a great job. Let's cut ourselves some slack, please. Let's follow the instructions I saw from a teacher on Facebook at some point in the last 3,007,014 days. Our job is to help our kids and each other get through this with as little trauma as possible. We can handle academic learning later. In fact, we can handle many other things later. And let's be real. We can't keep working at the pace we were working before, a pace never intended for health and well-being anyway. Let's free ourselves from this internalized nonsense. Let's trust and follow our bodies and our rhythms and our true capacity. Whatever it takes for us and for our families to make it, permission granted. And let me also acknowledge and bring some love to those of you who have trauma in your family histories that has been activated by this difficult time. To all those missing their relationships and presence with extended family and grandchildren and godchildren and chosen family. To all those social distancing with a glass door between you and the people on the other side. To the ones whose family relationships are ruptured and grieving that loss. To all of us who have had our families strained and distanced and challenged by this pandemic. So much love and care. So ends our reading this morning. Wouldn't it be great if the only things we ever had to deal with in life were the things that we expected to happen, the things we had planned for, the stuff we were all ready for, or even things that we had happily anticipated? Hey, wouldn't that be great? Now, whether that actually would be great or whether it would be boring and stultifying, it doesn't matter anymore, because that's not the life we have. The reason that wedding ceremonies promise to love for better, for worse, in sickness and in health, is because we have long known that bad stuff happens in life. We make vows that promise we will be faithful, even when the worst happens. But just because we may be intellectually aware that we are not the ones in control of our lives, that bad things happen in everyone's life and cannot be predicted, does not mean we're emotionally and spiritually prepared to cope when those bad things crop up unexpectedly in our closest relationships, in our lives. While we may know in our heads that the unexpected can happen, when it actually does happen, we can find ourselves angry, resentful, anxious, confused, frustrated. The COVID-19 pandemic has starkly revealed what we knew intellectually, but inwardly had refused to accept. We are not in control. All the plans we made for 2020, and let's face it, for 2021, were contingent on everything staying the same, even though we knew deep inside that things constantly change. And so here we are. Here we are, with all our tangled feelings of, I didn't sign up for this. And we didn't. None of us, not even healthcare professionals, said to themselves, I think there's going to be a worldwide plague in my lifetime. And I think all our lives are going to be upended and all our plans and dreams for the future will be undone. Nobody thought that. We didn't sign up for this. Don't skip over this part. We didn't sign up for this and it feels awful. We cannot do the things we want to do and we are stuck doing things we don't want to do. We cannot plan and organize properly as we used to do. We never planned on raising children in a pandemic. We did not expect or want to have our relationships with our grandchildren strictly by technology. We cannot get on with our lives. Let us lift up and acknowledge our emotions. Like the children in our story this morning, let us name and claim our emotions. We feel sad. We feel mad. We feel frustrated. We feel scared. We feel lonely even if we are quarantined with other people. We feel confused and uncertain. We fret and we worry. We have lost sleep. We wake up at 4 a.m. for no good reason, except that everything is a mess. Our eating patterns have been disrupted. We eat too much or we eat too little. We completely lose track of days. I cannot be the only one who wakes up every morning telling themselves, okay, today is Sunday. Today is Sunday. Everything is different and not in a good way. We miss touching other people. We miss being touched. We didn't sign up for this. There are so many things in life we can't control. Everything from tiny annoyances to major tragedies. We can't control what others think, say, or do. We can't control what elected officials and politicians do or say. We can't control Mother Nature. We can't control this virus. But we can control our reactions to all the things in life we can't control. And I know you've heard that statement many, many times. Things become a cliche for a reason. You already know in your heart this is true. We can only control ourselves and our reactions. But in the moment, how do we react when it feels like our world has stopped or has exploded? And sometimes it feels like this virus has both stopped and exploded our lives. Well, first, feel what you feel. Do like the children in our story, name and acknowledge your feelings without beating yourself up. Avoiding whatever feelings that you have doesn't get rid of them. It just prolongs the healing and makes things worse. Second, take deep breaths. In fact, take a deep breath right now. When we get overwhelmed, our breathing gets shallow, which spikes stress. Practicing deep breathing helps to calm us. It's also a reminder of something that we can control, our breath, even when there's little else we can control. Third, don't fixate on reasons. If the government had shut down faster, if we had all started wearing masks everywhere, if people only listened to the scientists, if, it's like quarterbacking a Saints game on Monday morning. None of that matters now. Trying to find the perfect answer for why this is happening stops you from moving forward and controlling what you can. Fourth, create a list of gratitude. Every day, write down 5 things you're grateful for, big or small, whatever. And when life in a pandemic gets you down, read over your list. What are you appreciative of, even now, in the midst of COVID-19? Every day, you can find 5 things. The 5th thing is move your body. Research has found that people who participate in regular physical activity are better able to manage strong emotions. Moving our bodies promotes blood circulation and releases tension, which is exactly what you need to do when you're feeling overwhelmed. And don't worry if you can't get outside due to the heat or to disability. Do chair exercises. There are all kinds of chair exercises available online. Just move your body. The sixth thing is turn to trustworthy people in your life. Sometimes when we're feeling out of control, we disconnect, we isolate. But this is exactly when we need to reach out to other people. Sometimes people don't reach out because they don't want to be a burden. But ask yourself, when somebody you cared about reached out to you for support and comfort, did you resent them? Did you think they were a pain? Did you think they were a burden? Probably not, unless they were calling 10 times a day. So reach out. Finally, remind yourself that as bad as this feels sometimes, it's not permanent. This too shall pass. No matter how horrible you feel, remind yourself that it won't last forever. Even the pandemic will not last forever. What the coronavirus has done, besides stopping and exploding our old lives, is to teach us that our assumption that everything is under control, that we can make elaborate plans for the future, it was always a wrong assumption. It's demoralizing to think that there's nothing you can do, or maybe we know there's many things we can do, but we don't have the energy. Civil rights hero and activist icon, Representative John Lewis, died in July, and I think of his words often. Do not get lost in a sea of despair. Do not become bitter or hostile. Be hopeful. Be optimistic. Never, ever be afraid to make some noise and get in good trouble, necessary trouble. We will find a way to make a way out of no way. Darlings, we did not sign up for this, but this is where we are. So do your best. Honor yourself. Each day, take one small, tiny step. Take deep breaths. Text a loved one. Write a few words about what you need and what you're grateful for. Help one other person. Ask for help when you need it. Take your time. In other words, be kind and gentle with yourself and with everyone else, always. Amen, Ashe, Shalom, Salam, Namaste, blessed be.
Amen. Amen. Amen.
Our words for benediction come from Reinhold Niebuhr. You might be familiar with a different version of this, but this is the original translated from the German. God, give us courage to change what must be altered, serenity to accept what cannot be helped, and the insight to know the one from the other. Our service here is ended, but service in the wider world remains our continuing responsibility and an ever-renewing source of joy. Go from here and make peace.
Thank you all so much for joining us today in this time of worship, and a big thank you to Reverend Melanie for joining us today. Stay connected, because in just about 10 minutes, a virtual coffee hour will begin, led by member and past President Dion DeVille. Thank you all.